Hello there, dear viewers. Welcome to the Future of Kuwait program. My name is Abdulaziz Darwish, and this program will gonna apply the vision of His Highness Al Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jabr Al Sabah for the new Kuwait 2035 by interviewing distinguished guests and also show you the new projects, some of them under construction and the others already completed. In this episode, we're gonna show you the training course, the new training course inside the Australian College of Kuwait about the engineering and the aviation field. Stay tuned.
My name is David Rubin. I'm a teaching assistant at the School of Aviation at the Australian College of Kuwait. The Junior Aviation Camp was a camp arranged for students this summer. It was a camp that was mainly aimed for high school students to give them a bit of an introduction into the world of aviation and to know what sort of skills and experiences that they would have if they chose to be future engineers or pilots. This camp was held over 2 weeks. It consisted of a total of 50 hours of classroom. This camp was split into half and half, of course. About some of your time was spent in the classroom, while some of the time was spent with experience working on an actual aircraft. We happen to have a Boeing 777 live aircraft here at ACK, and the students spent a lot of time on the actual aircraft, moving certain surfaces, as well as sitting in the cockpit and knowing what a pilot does. Besides that, we also have an aircraft simulator, so the students got to experience what a pilot would face sitting in a cockpit and flying an actual aircraft. So this camp was split over 3 different subjects. The very first subject was an introduction to flight, where we talked about the science of an aircraft, what makes an actual aircraft fly, how different types of aircrafts are built, etc. The second part of the course was about the aircraft engines. And now you may not know this, but aircrafts have different types of engines, and they're very different from cars. In this case, we talk about gas turbine engines. So we talked about how these engines work, how they're built. And the last part of the course was focused on the instruments of the aircraft, or the avionics as we call them. Students got to learn about the electrical instruments that are placed in the aircraft and that a pilot has to use. This year was the first time we held a summer camp, so we had about 8 students who joined us, 8 or 9 students. Most of these students were fresh graduates from high school, and we were glad to have them. In order to register for the course, ACK, the Center for Continuous Education, is arranging this course as of now, and it can be registered with at the Australian College of Kuwait. Well, most of the students who join this camp are usually interested in the world of aviation. Now, this camp is very unique because students rarely get an opportunity to spend time on an actual live aircraft and to actually know the subject from experienced engineers and instructors. So students move all over the aircraft. They move into the cargo bay, they move into the landing gear, they see the hydraulics of the aircraft, as well as when they enter the aircraft, they have a look at the cabin and how the cabin functions, as well as the cockpit and all the different instruments that a pilot looks at in the cockpit, as well as the different instruments that he uses as well. Part of our resources here at ACK is a simulated aircraft tower where students can also train to become ATC staff. Students get to have a look at how the ATC tower communicates with the aircraft, as well as vice versa, and how the entire operations at airports work. The Junior Aviation Camp is very different from other camps that are held at the university. This being the world and the field of aviation is very unique because of the fact that we have our own aircraft as well as resources and facilities that are very different from other departments. Normally, you would find engineering departments or business departments, which are very common all over Kuwait, while the aviation camp deals with aircrafts, and that is something which is unique, something that only our department, the School of Aviation, has, and that is something that is a unique opportunity for students. I think this will be a great guide for students who would like to be engineers as well as pilots. The main reason is students in high school usually have a dream or have a goal of wanting to do something. However, in order to reach that goal, they need to know whether or not they have the skills necessary to do that, or the education as well. So this camp is a good introduction for most of these students who would like to pursue this particular career. They get to meet experienced engineers as well as pilots who can give them information on the subjects that they would need to study, as well as let them know the sort of skills they would require in order to be an engineer as well as a pilot. The main goal of this camp is basically to reach out to the youth of Kuwait. We want to encourage students to do something positive in their lives. Since this is a unique opportunity for students to be with aircraft and around aircraft, which is not very common. Most students may go to an airport and just visit an aircraft. But to spend 2 weeks learning about it, to meet experienced engineers and pilots is something very unique. And we want to encourage students to pursue this career, pursue this field, and for them to be able to reach their goals in the future. Students get to spend time with experienced engineers and pilots. They also get to spend time on aircrafts working with their hands, which is something that is unique. Most airlines would never allow a student to go near a live aircraft or to actually move certain parts of the aircraft, to sit in the cockpit and to move the control instruments. And we give students that opportunity, which is very unique. We hope to do the Junior Aviation Camp again in the future, and we'd like to encourage more students to join us. This year was the first time that we held this camp, and this camp was held mainly for teenagers who had just graduated high school or who are currently enrolled in high school as well. And we were aiming for an age group between 14 to 20. However, in the future, depending on students who are interested in doing the course, we would love to expand. We would also like to encourage students who may have graduated high school, who are not sure of what career choice they want to make. And these 2 weeks can be a good introduction for them to the field of aviation and how the aviation field works as a career for them as well. We would also like to expand and invite more students to join us. Even younger students who have a love for aviation are very welcome here at ACK. I'd like to thank all the participants of the Junior Aviation Camp in 2019 for the students who were with us this year. I would also like to invite more students to join us the next year so that we can give you an experience that you have never had before.
Now, dear viewers, our episode comes to an end. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed our covering inside the Australian College of Kuwait about the engineering and the aviation fields training courses. See you next time with more amazing projects in our beloved country, State of Kuwait.